The king had just finished a victorious battle when an old man transformed into an eagle, disguised himself as the king, and successfully deceived the queen. Only a minute later, the real king returned to the palace. As he stepped into the queen's chamber, he witnessed a scene that filled him with rage. The king of Olympus had taken on his appearance and deceived the queen's affections. Furious, the king drew his sword, ready to fight Zeus to the death. But Zeus had already completed his punishment for the king, instantly transforming into a mighty eagle and flying away. Not long after, the queen became pregnant, and the king's wrath thundered because the child she carried was Zeus's son. Unable to bear such humiliation, the king ordered the queen and her child to be sealed in a coffin and thrown into the deep sea. He then raised his head to the heavens and cursed Zeus and his entire family with the most venomous words. Finally, unable to tolerate such desecration, Zeus unleashed the fury of lightning, striking the king and turning him into a half-human, half-beast monster. Even so, the king's hatred remained, and he threw the coffin into the ocean. The transformed king then vanished without a trace. The coffin drifted on the sea for an unknown length of time until it was discovered by a fisherman. Expecting treasure, he hauled it ashore, but upon opening it, he was astonished to find a deceased noblewoman and a crying infant boy, flowing with divine blood. The infant possessed extraordinary vitality. The fisherman and his wife, who had long been childless, saw this as a gift from heaven and decided to adopt the special child, naming him Perseus. He grew up in the fishing village, unaware that everything had been orchestrated by a mysterious woman, for this child was destined to save humanity and become a legendary figure who would overthrow the gods' cruel rule. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. On a stormy night, the family sat by the sea, and the fisherman finally revealed Perseus's true origins. The young boy felt uneasy, especially worried that his soon-to-be-born sister might take away his adoptive parents' love, since he was not their biological child. His kind-hearted adoptive father solemnly promised that no matter the bloodline, Perseus would always be their cherished son. Though life was modest, this special family was filled with warmth and happiness. Another 10 years passed, and Perseus had grown into a strong young man. He inherited his father's profession and became a fisherman, living off the sea. But this livelihood depended entirely on the gods' blessings. Lately, however, the waters seemed to have angered the high gods, as for several days they had caught not a single fish. The father blamed the gods for their injustice, seething with anger and loudly condemning them. Meanwhile, the mother silently prayed, asking the gods to forgive her husband's blasphemous words, believing firmly that their lives were granted by the divine and should always be met with gratitude. Despite his extreme disappointment in the stingy gods, for the sake of his family, the father ordered Perseus to take the boat to the statue of Zeus to offer prayers. Unexpectedly, they discovered a group of soldiers chiseling at the statue's base. As Perseus watched in confusion, the 100-meter-tall statue of Zeus suddenly cracked and collapsed, plunging into the sea. The massive splash instantly drenched the entire family aboard the boat, but even as the water soaked them to the skin, a sense of foreboding lingered in the air, as if the storm and the gods' wrath were far from over, leaving the family suspended between relief and dread.